Commissioner Hicks.
Here.
Okay, at this time, I'll ask Commissioner Chance to do our invocation and our pledge to allegiance.
Please bow your heads. Lord, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to all meet here together to handle the business of Carroll County. We pray that you will lead, guide, and direct us as we make decisions, and we pray that the citizens that are here that wish to voice their concerns or their opinions or their praises, that we will take that in considerations into all matters and also what we believe is best for all of Carroll County. Please give us discernment as we make those decisions. Please give us traveling mercies as we leave here today. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask for a motion and a second from the board to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the Board of Commissioners special called meeting February 27th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Well, I was going to do all of them, but.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. The executive session meeting from February 27th, the work session minutes from February 27th, and the meeting minutes from March the 4th, and the Commissioners' Planning Retreat minutes from March 13th and, 18th and 19th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, sorry. Got it. All right, this time we'll move into special presentations. Our first one is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I'll call on Commissioner McClendon to read this.
Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 1st, 2025. Whereas children are both Carroll County's most valuable and vulnerable resources, are vital to our future success, prosperity, and quality of life, and whereas child abuse and maltreatment can be prevented by supporting and strengthening Carroll County's families, whatever their makeup, and whereas all children in Carroll County deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities which they need to foster healthy growth and development, and whereas effective child abuse and maltreatment response and prevention are both a community responsibility and succeed because of partnerships among citizens, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, and whereas by providing a safe, stable, and nurturing environment for our children, free of violence, abuse, neglect, or maltreatment, we can ensure Carroll County's children will grow to their full potential, and whereas West Georgia Child Advocacy Center champions the needs of sexually, physically, and emotionally abused children in Carroll County through prevention, intervention, therapy, collaboration, and healing, and through partnership with local agencies, is uniquely positioned to facilitate a multidisciplinary team response. Now, therefore, I, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Carroll County, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and call upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, elected leaders, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the community in which we live. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand on this first day of April of the year of 2025.
All right, we'll do a picture. So Montreal, I guess you and I and Matt will move to the front. Y'all, we've got three of them. Do y'all want to stand here or come to the front or? Right.
He's got a few things he wanted to say.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Alan Babcock. I'm the Executive Director of the West Georgia Child Advocacy Center.
And I just want to thank our multidisciplinary team members, the Department of Family and Children Services, District Attorney, Victim Witness Program, school social workers, Department of Juvenile Justice, and of course, all our law enforcement entities. Listening to children matters, hearing children heals. 1 in 5 girls globally and 1 in 20 boys is a victim of sexual abuse. In the United States, 4 children die every day from child abuse and neglect. In Georgia, this is a crazy stat. In Georgia, a child is more likely to be the victim of commercial sexual exploitation of children than they are to be in a serious traffic accident. And at your Child Advocacy Center, we conduct over 400 forensic interviews of children. 400, that's, well, almost 450. That's over a child a day. And so we exist to champion the needs of sexually, physically, and emotionally abused children in Carroll County, Heard County, and Haralson County. And since we opened in 2012, with the help of some of the people sitting right here, we have conducted over 4,000 interviews of children. And we're now providing on-site evidence-based trauma-focused therapy services, and we are just opening our forensic medical services. We try to be a one-stop shop, and all of our work is done free of charge. So again, thank you for your continued support, and remember, listening to children matters, but hearing children heals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next proclamation is for Delta Sigma Theta Day. Whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded on January 13, 1913 by 22 collegiate women at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a private, nonprofit organization whose primary focus is public service to the local community, and the major programs of the sorority are based on the organization's 5-point thrust programs: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was chartered on April 22nd, 2007 by 74 charter members who work parallels the work of the grand chapter. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter is a sisterhood of college-educated, progressive, and committed women who stand as a beacon of light, providing service and support to providing public service support to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Douglas, Carroll, and Paulding counties. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which now has over 348 members, has provided scholarships for graduating seniors in Douglas, Carroll, and Paulding counties for the past 18 years. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter mentors the young ladies and young men in their youth initiative programs, the Delta Academy, Delta Gyms, and EMBODI, and whereas this year the Douglas Carroll Paulding County alumni chapter will celebrate 18 years of continued public service, serving as a beacon of light in our communities, remembering the past, embracing the present, and sustaining the future. Now, therefore, I, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 1st, 2025 as Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Day. In witness whereof, I, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set my hand and used the seal of Carroll County to be affixed this first day of April, 2025. Ladies, if you'll come forward.
Wants to come up with.
time, I'll ask Commissioner Bailey if he'll do the Safe Digging Month proclamation for us.
All right, so whereas thousands of times each year the underground infrastructure in Georgia is damaged by those who do not have underground lines located prior to digging, resulting in service interruptions, environmental damage, and threat to public safety. And whereas in 2005, the Federal Communication Commission designated 811 to provide contractors and homeowners with a simple number to contact utility operators to request the location of underground lines at the intended dig site. And whereas the West Georgia Utility Coordinating Committee, a stakeholder-driven organization dedicated to the prevention of damage to underground utilities in Georgia, promotes the National 811 notification system and the Georgia 811 in an effort to reduce the damage. And whereas damage prevention is a shared responsibility, by using safe digging practices, the contractors and homeowners of Carroll County can save time, money, and help our infrastructure safe and connected. And therefore, I do hereby proclaim, on behalf of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, the month of April 2025 as Carroll County Safe Digging Month, and encourage contractors and homeowners throughout Carroll County to always contact 811 before digging. Safe digging is no accident.
Okay, at this time, we'll move into public comments. Public comments are an opportunity for the public to address the commission with any issues or concerns they may have. All remarks should be directed to the chairman, not to individual commissioners, staff, or citizens in attendance. Members of the public shall not make inappropriate or offensive comments. Any individual who violates the rules of decorum may be removed from the meeting. At this time, the board will not comment, nor will the board take any action on these comments. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and there'll be a timer on the list. I'll go by the people who signed up first, and then I'll ask if there's anybody else who wants to speak. So first I have Ron Butler.
Okay, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ron Butler. I live at Moss Ferry Road, and I'd like you to record and publish my comments, please. And I'm here to talk about the new county park known as Moss Ferry Park, which is at 666 Moss Ferry Road. And let's see here. I got some notes. Moss Ferry Park is more or less 105 acres. It was donated to Carroll County by Mr. Jeff Matthews a few years ago. And it was donated with a very specific intent to be a passive park, totally passive with walking trails and things like that. And I've read the donation agreement and the associated documents with it. And it talks about prohibiting lighting. It talks about how many cars can park there. It talks about the parking lot can be not be paved, things like that. So I just want to make sure that we honor that. Carroll County is known as the County of Opportunity, and we have an opportunity to build a passive park and maintain a passive park. So that's what we need to do. I've spoken in the past or communicated in the past with Mr. Clint Chance. He's assured me there's, I think he said like 4 miles already of trails through the park. And I've actually emailed him and had him have the people remove some tires and stuff out of the park, things like that. But The other reason I'm here is I've heard rumors that there's going to be a pickleball court there or two, and that is not considered a passive activity. So, as far as I'm concerned, no pickleball. So, that's really what I'm here for, requesting no pickleball. Let's honor the donation agreement as it was intended by Mr. Jeff Matthews. And I believe there's some other folks here that would like to speak as well. Thank you.
Have Neville Brewer.
Evening, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. Like Mr. Butler, I'd like to discuss briefly some aspects of the Moss Ferry Park that's been done. The land was donated by local businessmen back in 2018, and in 2021, the county accepted and processed through a deed of conservation easement, which laid down very specifically what the park was to be for, what it was to use for, what it can be used for, what it can't be used for. It is such items as it's the specific purpose of creating nature-based outdoor recreation opportunities available to the general public, such as walking, hiking, trail bicycling on designated trails, education, nature observation, education and scientific stuff. As Mr. Butler said, back in 2020, Commissioner Chase confirmed that the intentions of the donor was to be a passive park. There was to be no organised sports. There is not to be any competitive activities. It was purely a passive park for relaxation and enjoyment. Now, we do understand, and we have heard from county employees that the intention is to put 2 pickleball courts there. Those are not passive activities for a park such as this. They are not wanted by the local community. They will intrude onto the local residents who surround that park with activity and noise. If you have 2 pickleball courts playing doubles, you have 16 people there and room for 10 cars, because you can only put 10 cars on those premises. You know, this is going to create some chaos. And it really goes entirely against both the legal document and the spirit of the donation that was made to the county. And for that purpose, we as the residents who live in Moss Ferry Road really do not want a pickleball court. I would like, if possible, to have my comments published as well, but I would appreciate you taking to heart the concerns of the people here and the donor's wishes as to what he wanted to be done with this 105 acres he so generously donated to the county. It is the only park we have in this area of the county, and we would like it to remain as he wished it to be for perpetuity. Thank you very much.
Donald Etheridge.
I am Donald Etheridge. I live at 128 Old Gold Mine Road, adjacent to Moss Ferry Road in the park. I request that my remarks be made a part of this public record. I was one of the ones who persuaded Sole Commissioner Hari Duncan many years ago to bring zoning to Carroll County. And the purpose of that zoning was to preserve the agricultural and rural aspects of Carroll County. We were solicited and had many conversations with Michelle Morgan and others for our support for the Moss Ferry Park as a passive park. It was to have minimal pavement, walking, bike trails, horse trails only, no motorized vehicles, no sporting activities or events, no lights, daylight use only, closed at sundown. The courts, if pickleball is brought in and parking, will cause additional runoff into Sandy Creek, which is a tributary of the Dog River, a water supply for Douglas County and Fairfield Plantation. The destruction of more endangered wildflowers and plants, which we have identified with the help of the Georgia Native Plant Society, are there on the property, and any additional payment would result in the loss of that. There are 3 high-pressure natural gas lines that go right through the property. We don't need to do any more encroachment on those with any vehicles or paving. Moss Ferry is the curviest road in the county. Additional traffic at the bottom of the hill where the traffic is the fastest would not be prudent. It's just stupid. This is inconsistent with the 30-year plan for Carroll County to put loads on rural roads. Highway 61 and the new fairground site that the county has purchased is within a half mile of this location. If there's a big demand for pickleball courts, put it there. You got plenty of parking. You'll have new restrooms. You'll have facilities where you can put these courts. Please don't put it on the Moss Ferry Park site. It's just not what we were promised. We ask also that you don't table this so that support can be stirred up and, from the pickleball crew. Thank you so much. God bless you. Please do your job.
Ann Etheridge.
My name's Ann Etheridge. I live at 128 Old Gold Mine Road. I'm also a member of the neighborhood, and we're very concerned. We were hoping that the park was opening this spring and that we would be able to be walking out there now. I'm also a member of the Native Plant Society, and I was one of the ones that went out to look at the plants, and we gave you a list of some of the plants we thought were important to save if we could around when you made your trails, and we haven't heard anything back, but we're still willing to do that. But our ideas are to try to preserve that for walking and a quiet place where people can go, a place where we can bring school children very close to the school there. That would be ideal. And I think having those other kinds of activities would take away from what this park we thought was going to be. So thank you for your...
Jared Siller.
Hey, how are y'all this evening?
Thanks.
I'm Jared Seiler. I live at 47 Cliff Court up in Villa Rica. I'm up there off Ledbetter in your district. Back in May, me and my folks were looking for some county in Northwest Carroll County to build on, and we came across 90 acres in Northwest Carroll at the end of Spiver Road. Prior to buying it, it didn't have any road frontage going into it. So prior to buying it, we engaged with Ben, Danny, and Chris up at Community Development about what we could do to split that land up, because it was going to be us, me and my folks in one lot, my friend in another lot, and then my sister and brother-in-law who currently live in Tennessee in another. And we were told that to do that, they would let us extend Spiver Road into the property, and that they wouldn't require us to pave the road, because the end of Spiva is in terrible condition, and it was going to be cost prohibitive for us to buy that land, as much land as it was, if we were going to have to pave it as well. So we had written confirmation from Chris, and then we emailed Danny Yates that all they were going to do was require us to put gravel in there to split it up. Fast forward, after multiple revisions now, they've said that if we're going to do that, they are going to require us to pave it after all. Which, had we known, had that come up in the conversations in May, we wouldn't have bought the land. It's a lot of land. We don't need 90 acres. And so the hang-up now, they're saying, is because we want to sell a fourth lot. And again, our civil engineer has said that they'll put a note on there that that lot can't be developed. But they're saying that we're acting as developers now because we're trying to sell that lot because we don't need the full 90 acres. But again, whatever provision in the ordinance that they're using to allow us, whether that's the estate lot subdivision ordinance or it's the minor lot split ordinance, that allows for up to 4 lots. So if they were going to allow it under 2 lots, we're not sure why they're not going to allow it under 4 lots now. And again, it cannot be developed any further. That's the last thing we want. We don't want 30 houses back there. We want, if we're going to sell it, we want someone to build 1 house so that there's 4 houses at the end of that road. But again, we wouldn't have bought the land had we not had all that confirmation on the front end from county employees saying that we wouldn't be required to pave it. And now they're saying that we have to pave it. And so our costs to pave that road are nearly $50,000, which is obviously not at all what we were expecting when we purchased the land to begin with. And so I just wanted to come present the problem. I emailed Tommy, who will be our future commissioner. I CC'd you, Clint, my current commissioner, because I live over off Ledbetter, and I also CC'd you as well, Michelle, just to try to get some clarity on this. And again, under the ordinance as it's stated, I'm not sure why we would be allowed to do it with 2, maybe 3 lots, but then magically not allowed to do it by adding a 4th lot. And that part it's lost on me. So that's it. That's my comment. So I hope y'all can respond to those emails. That'd be great.
Mr. Pulver?
My name is Steve Pulver. I live at 80 Ithaca Gin Road. This is the layout of the EVOC, the emergency vehicle. And this is located right in my backyard, so I don't know if you could see it. Anyway, we're fine with that. What we're objecting to is an outdoor gun range. I can't have an outdoor gun range with my grandchildren playing in the backyard. There's a huge safety problem. That alone, we've got Benny Rivers adjoining with cattle. We have Johnny Blankenship and we have Mr. Willis on the other side, all property owners around this property that are fine with the vehicle training ground. That's fine. We want you to change the outdoor gun range to an indoor gun range. And I realize there's a sizable cost involved. I've talked to the sheriff about it. But it's still, it might be a profit center for you, but please investigate that. And the biggest issue, my daughter teaches elementary school. She was a teacher at Ithaca Gin Elementary. And the last thing we need is someone out there practicing those kids on the playground and all that noise. What do you think the teachers are going to do? They're going to lock that school down. They're going to lock down the other 2 schools on either side down the road. And then you're going to have a huge traffic jam with parents trying to get their kids out of there before all of it gets cleaned up. And then if you start firing again, it's going to happen again. I would hope that you would all come together and simply make a motion and make it on the record that there'll be no outdoor gun range within a 3-mile radius of any school in Carroll County, including parks and residential subdivisions. We don't need people to sit around and say how sorry we are that that bullet misfired. Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak during the public comments time? Come. If you'll state your name and address, please.
Charles Campbell, 50 South Wilson Street, Villa Rica, Georgia, 30180. I am one of the other members trying to build out on the land on Spiver Road. The thing that, to reiterate, to add to, that I wanted to try to get clarity on is the fear is that a subdivision will be put in. We do not want that. Before, the reason for only being gravel was so that the subdivision would not happen. Now, with paving, if a developer were to buy that land, which we don't want to sell to a developer, but if someone came in, said they were going to build one house, decided they were not going to build one house, that it was a developer, and decided they were going to pave a road, it would be much easier for them and more cost-effective if that road is already paved. So we would be paying for this road to be paved so that a developer could cash in on that for their own well-being, which we do not want, nor does the county want. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you for your time. Just if you could respond to the emails like Jared said and give us some clarity, that'd be great. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak during the public comment time?
I hadn't really planned to speak. I'm not really a public speaker. Thank you for making me aware of this, Brewers, and Miss Teresa Wright made me aware of it.
If you could tell me your name and your address, please.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm not an eloquent speaker, so y'all bear with me. I may seem a little klutzy, but thank you for allowing us to do this. My name's Michael Perry Webb, and I'm going to circle back around to the Moss Ferry thing that's going on with the pickle court. I really wasn't aware that that was going to be happening. I know there's been a lot of things that's supposed to have happened there over the years, and by the way, that's right next to my house. I know as far as recreation, they started it, and it's been cleared out, and they look like they were really doing a wonderful job with it. Can everybody hear me all right? Well, they're doing recreation all right. It was brought to my attention somebody was over smoking marijuana, so I guess that's some interesting recreation going on. I think a passive park would be really cool. I mean, I've been involved and experienced a passive park with my father before he passed away, and it was very enjoyable. I think pickleball is pretty cool. I mean, but I think it probably needs to be designated in a way that would be received in the community with open arms. I live right next to that, so I mean, if it's going to affect anybody, it would affect me and the neighbor that lives behind me. Any kind of park would probably affect me with it being right there. But it's nice to see that it's not just a kudzu patch. And, I mean, things have been done over there. They've deer hunted over there. Like I say, there's probably been some things over there that I probably even done myself when I was a teenager. But I'm going to circle back around also to this. I said this, I grew up in Mapleton and Austell, and I'm kind of the outsider. I came over here in Carroll County in 2001. And my wife and I were looking for a place to live. I worked for the Atlanta Gas Light Company at the time, and I worked in Atlanta for 16 years, and then I got to come out to Carroll County for the gas company, and part of that was to move out here. And I had said in the very beginning when I had gone down that road, I said, I will never live on this road. That road is, if anybody's aware of that road, it is traveled very, very reckless and with a lot of speed. It was never designed for that. It looks like a roller coaster. I have 3 minutes, don't I?
You do, and your time just went out.
Okay,
I don't
well, let
know
me
why
just...
the alarm didn't go off.
Yeah.
So we usually have a polite little bell.
Okay. The only thing I was going to say about that with the speed... Has anybody ever considered speed humps? Does anybody even know what a speed hump is? Where you do them strategically? Because we get a lot of Fairfield traffic. And so put that down too, if you could, a speed hump going down the road. Because when you go to your mailbox, you want to be able to go to it. Does that make sense? So thank you for you kind people for listening to a good old boy just come with an unprepared speech. Like I say, when I got here, I was glad to find my way into the building. So thank you. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great evening.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak during the public comment time? Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll now move into zoning, which we do not have any zoning this evening. So we'll move into the business session. I am going to backtrack just a little bit. Normally, the Board of Commissioners do not comment on any thing presented to us tonight during the public comment time because we need time to research and understand it. But we do have Ben Skipper here with the parks. So following our meeting, if those of you with Moss Ferry want to meet with him directly following the meeting, I'm sure he'd be happy to take care of some concerns. So we have our first thing is the Georgia Opioid Crisis Abatement Trust Grant Award that is being presented by Judge Haney.
Yes, Judge Haney. Thank you for having me. And I do want to say, since I have the mic right now, that I do want to thank you for all your support during our legislative sessions. I know we had several things that passed, that have passed during the legislative session, and I just appreciate the support of the commission for that. So today I want to bring you the Georgia Opioid Crisis Abatement Trust Grant Award. And that award was applied for by our mental health court and our new Veterans Treatment Court, which is technically a branch of the mental health court. So that we received that award, and it is for several. We have been approved for the award. It's in the amount of $213,916.60, and it's for very specific expenditures in mental health court. Primarily, or about half of it, will be for. It's a 2-year grant, so it's already been funded for 2 years. And primarily, it's for a peer support specialist. And that will be another, I think Mr. Chance asked me today if it would be an employee. It is not. It is a contractor. And so that will be a contract position with the mental health court and serving also Veterans Treatment Court for a peer support specialist. And a peer support specialist is along the lines of, it's kind of a combination of case management and counseling. And so it lets us bring another expert into our court to provide support services to our participants. So it's someone, a peer support specialist has lived experience, which means that they have had health issues in the past, mental health issues in the past. And so we're very excited. Research shows that that's one of the most effective methods to work with participants. And so we're very excited to bring that petition in as a contract employee. We've also been funded for assistance with housing, with rehab intake, and with additional counseling. And I do want to mention that the reason that we requested funds in those particular areas is that those are areas where we find we don't have current funding for under our state grant for the mental health court. CACJ gives us a state grant for operations. It pays most of our personnel, and then the county provides through the DATE funds supplemental funds that we use for mental health court. But we found as we're operating, our operations have grown. We had about 25 participants last year. This year we applied for funding to increase to 50, and we're actually at 60 participants. We do have a number that are doing inpatient rehab before they come into the court, but we've grown our program significantly, which allows us to take some pressure off. These are all persons that would go through the Superior Court process, and that's allowed them to go through the mental health court process instead. So I think it's been very effective for us, and we anticipate Veterans Court is growing at a slower pace, but growing. And so we're really going to focus our efforts on growing our Veterans Treatment Court. We're really excited about that. Judge Simpson is overseeing both courts. I serve at the pleasure of Judge Simpson, but he will be primarily overseeing the Veterans Treatment Court. So excited about that. And this grant will again service both of those tracks. Housing assistance and rehab intake, if we can provide our participants, sometimes you need a deposit. When you come out, you need a deposit to go into housing, into an apartment, into a group home. Same thing for rehab. Sometimes you have to pay an amount up front, and a lot of times our participants are coming straight out of jail, and they don't have those funds, and they don't have family. They don't have close ties with family that's able to provide that. And so we're able to use grant funds for that. I really think it's an extreme assistance that our mental health core participants need. So we're very excited about that. And same thing for additional counseling. We use our CSB Pathways. They're a great partner, but what we run into is Pathways provide support for indigent assistance, but if their insurance if they have insurance, then they don't qualify for our community service provider, but their insurance may not pay all of their treatment costs. And so this will also let us use grant funds to help them with their treatment costs. So all in all, we're very excited, looking forward to using it. So does anybody have any questions for me that I might can answer?
Judge Haney, thank you for the presentation and for the phone call earlier today. Just to reiterate something that we spoke about, that we normally ask on these contracts, since it is contract labor, the contractor, the employee, so to speak, even though they're not going to be an employee of the county, they understand on the front end that this is a 2-year funding agreement, and there's no guarantee that moving forward, Carroll County would be willing on their own to take on that expenditure, so they understand on the front end the length of time they're being employed, even though they're not technically an employee.
That's correct, that this is a grant-funded position, and that is part of the paperwork that we provide, that it's a grant-funded position. It's only, it's not guaranteed if there's no performance, but it would, at the most, it's funded for 2 years currently.
Right. Well, I think that's a great grant that you're getting there, and it's substantial. I know it'll help both of those particular courts you talked about. Thank you.
I do want to give some kudos to our coordinator, Brittany Jenkins. She's obviously the one who applied for us, so yeah, she's really been good about that. All right, thank you so much.
If there's no further questions, I'll look for a motion and a second to approve this grant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any
Motion.
opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Great. We'll now move into the financials for February 2025. I'll call Alicia Searcy, our Finance Director, to the podium microphone.
Good evening, Commissioners. We have before us our February 2025 financials for the General Fund. At the end of February, our revenues total for the year were $64,862,882. That's 81% of our budget. And based on my forecast, I believe that we will make our budgeted revenue for the fiscal year of 2025. We've still got a ways to go, about $15 million to collect, but I think the direction we're headed, we're going to be in good shape. As far as that revenue, we've actually hit budget in several areas. Our insurance premium tax, we've hit our revenue number there. Alcohol license, we've hit our number there. Collection commissions, we've hit our number on that. And then other charges for services, we've made our budget there. So we're headed in the right direction as far as our revenues are concerned. Our expenses, we ended February at $52,674,082, which is 65.9% of our budget. So we're running pretty good there. Last year at the same time, we were at 67.29% of our budget. So we're trending a little bit lower on our expenditures than we were last year, but at the end of the year, I hope that we're going to come in a little bit below budget on our expenditures. On our cash, our general fund cash is at $54,966,000. That's down about $3.8 million from last year this same time, and pretty much in line with 2023. Our other cash, our 21 spliced, we're spending down on that for our projects that I'll talk about in just a minute. And we fully funded our debt service at this point, so we'll be making that distribution in a few months. And our landfill cash is at $2.1 million compared to $1.2 million. We have received a little over $800,000 in insurance funding for the transfer station building that was damaged during the snow earlier this year. On the 21 splost, we've got a majority of our expenditures going toward the new administration building. We've got $595,688 there. We're wrapping up the expenditures at the Villa Rica Fire Station. We had another $18,000 there. And then at Public Works, just normal expenditures that we have there, mainly gravel for our dirt roads that we're resurfacing as far as that's concerned. And then we have a breakdown of the money that was paid out to the cities that we collect for them.
Yes, sir. See, I've just got a general accounting question on the monies that we receive for the transfer station for that storm damage. Is that something that goes like into the general and then we'll pay that back out toward the project of us rebuilding, or is that something that we'll like reimburse the SPLOST line since we're going to be pulling a lot of the money from SPLOST to handle that project?
Well, the money went back into the solid waste fund, and the intention is to expend the money for the new building out of the solid waste fund. So we may, if it carries over the year and we're not ready to spend that money yet, we may move it into the capital projects fund so that we have that available to spend next year. And then what other expenses that are needed for the design and that kind of thing, we will probably get out of SPLOST.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call Ben Skipper, our Parks Director, to come forward for memorandum of understanding with McIntosh Reserve Park and a trail master plan.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. We're looking to seek an agreement for an approval for a memorandum of understanding with the Trust for Public Land to create a park and trail master plan for McIntosh Reserve in the amount of $150,000 to be funded from the 21 SPLOST account, and to authorize the chairman to negotiate and execute the contract and take all necessary actions in the connection with the project. So in layman's terms, what we're asking for is we want to partnership with the Trust for Public Land, and the trust is going to kick in the additional funds, and their current estimates are right around $500,000 for a master plan. And want to ask, why do we need a master plan? We need a master plan to seek grant funding from federal, state, and donors from the Trust for Public Land. They want to see what are we investing in. As an example, the county participated in the Chattahoochee River Recreation Paddle Trail Blue Water Master Plan. And out of that, the Trust for Public Land gave to Carroll County $150,000 to build a bathrooms, shower facilities for people to enter the Chattahoochee River at Lake Lanier Dam, paddle down, get out, have a place to camp, paddle, take a bathroom, use the bathroom, take a shower, clean up, and then continue all the way down to Columbus is the master plan. So we're just one spoke in the wheel, and what we're looking for here is to continue that partnership with the Trust for Public Land. Any questions?
I think it's a good move, and also to your point, I think it opens us up for the ability in the future to receive grant funding, or if they have resources from private donations, it's a direct connection for our parks to be able to utilize that. So I think it's a good idea to utilize them.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, if there's no further discussion or questions, I'll look for a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Linda, which one? Okay.
Second.
Okay. Okay, motion and second. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, item 4 is an RFQ selection for the design professional services of the solid waste transfer station. We have Danny Yates, Public Works Director, here to present this
Good
item.
afternoon, Chairman, Board. I come to you this evening. We sent out an RFQ try to hire someone to design our new transfer station. We did receive 2 bids. We put together a committee, and in your packet it had the names from the people on the committee, and they overwhelmingly chose Mr. Frank Gray. And then when the bid proposals were opened on his side, his bid come in at $90,805. And the selection committee, they overwhelmingly chose him. This is what he specializes in, transfer stations. He is working on one west side transfer station in Douglasville. He's also in the process of building one in South Carolina right now. So I come to you tonight to approve Mr. Gray to move forward with this, and his payment will come from solid waste fund balance.
Mr. Yates, my only comment regarding the contract, I've looked over the bid proposal. I think the committee did a good job in selecting this particular firm. I just think even though there's probably not as much complexities in a building such as this, like there might be in an admin building or the fire station, the same note is I think it's important to utilize a committee, whether it's that same committee, and I know that the chairman runs day-to-day operations and she'll help oversee that, but no matter what your expertise is, when you're building something, if you've only got one set of eyes or you're only depending on the contractor and one employee or one staff member, stuff is going to be missed or you're going to wish you thought about things. So I just think it's important, whether it's OAC meetings or whatever the process is, to utilize a committee, which can be small. It can be as little as, 3 people maybe.
Yes.
But I think that's important moving throughout this process so that you help catch things or can make the design even better.
Yes, sir.
That's my only comment. Thank you.
I'll look for a motion and a second to approve the RFQ.
Motion to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Great, thank you, Danny. We're going to leave you right there for item 5 now for some equipment purchase.
Yes, thank you. On February 4th, Public Works put out an RFP for a new roller for our asphalt paving. This roller will be replacing one right now that is currently 23 years old, and the county actually purchased it used when we purchased it. It's still a good roller. It's just it's time to buy a new one. We did receive 3 proposals from 2 different companies. Tractor and Equipment sent in 2 proposals for 2 different rollers, and then Reynolds Warren sent in 1 proposal for 1. And I'm before you tonight asking to go with the 2024 HOM HD from Tractor Equipment. It is $173,000 with an additional 3-year, 3,000-hour full warranty for an additional $7,583 for a total of $180,583. And this will come from the 21 splost equipment purchases through Public Works.
Mr. Yates, we discussed this item earlier today. I'm certainly not complaining that it's the cheapest bid. Anytime we can save the county money, that's great. But we had a discussion. I wanted to make sure that some of the other ones, the other 2 bids, that there wasn't something more spectacular or something you thought was going to do a better job or last longer, and you were just trying to conserve money. And my understanding is you believe that even though this is the cheapest, it's still, the quality would rate with the other 2 as well.
Yes, sir, I do. This HOM, I know you don't see many of them here, but C.W. Matthews, which we all know is the largest paving outfit in the state of Georgia, this is the equipment they're running now. And as I spoke with you earlier today, I did tell you, we went and looked at them. We really like the ease of use of the HOM. Everything is pretty simple. Of course, all equipment now have computers and such, but this thing is simple to change filters, service, 1 door. That's all you open. You can get to every item you need to.
You know I like the extended warranty.
I know you do, Mr. Clint.
If there's no further questions or any discussion, I'll look for a motion and a second to approve the HOM asphalt roller.
Motion to approve in the amount of $180,583.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, Danny, item 6 is Safe Streets for All, our safety plan we've been working on for like the last year.
Yes, ma'am. What I'm here tonight for, if I hope y'all received, is the final draft for the safety action plan. As the chairman spoke, we have been working on this thing for, it seems like 2 years, but it's been over a year. I have read through, I'm not going to sit here and tell you a lie, I haven't read this whole entire thing. I have read through probably 75% of it. But this is the final draft, and I'm just here tonight to ask y'all to approve it so we can be put finalized, and this will open us up potentially for federal grants. Federal grant, as Judge Haney said earlier, you can't do anything, and Ben spoke, you can't do anything without a plan. And this is part of the process. You have to have a safety action plan to ever start.
I think it's important to, for the public to know that we had some, I guess, the chairman set it up along with the firm that was hired. We had some input meetings, not only from staff and other community advocates and elected officials, but also there was an online system that citizens could go in and fill out surveys, put things that they thought were working or things that needed improvements.
Yes.
My only concern at one point during the process is that it was a little broad, that certain things that we don't do in the county, maybe like street lights or speed humps or sidewalks, but we narrowed that down and took in all that raw data and then narrowed it down, into things that we do. So I do think it was a pretty thorough process, and I think the company did a good job of trying to put together the programs, and I think it was inclusive of anyone that wanted to participate, especially with the public online surveys.
Yes, sir. And this is a big plan when you consider the size of Carroll County. You see a lot of these take place in cities and smaller towns and all, but this is a big project for a county our size.
Well, there's no further questions or discussion. I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve.
Motion to approve the Safe Streets for All safety plan.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. All right, Stacy Blackman, the county attorney, I'll call you up for item 7, a Southwire MOU.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. This is an MOU for Southwire's brand-new distribution facility that will be at the Waco exit. This is in Carroll County, Haralson County, and the city of Bremen, and it's the first project for the new Joint Development Authority that you all helped form. And this is a 1.2 million square foot state-of-the-art distribution facility for our community. Exhibit C of that MOU has the benchmarks. It's a $145 million capital investment and 250 new or retained jobs. And Exhibit B has the standard percentages that we've had, the 10 years abatement. It's 100% for year 1, 90% year 2, and so on. And Bremen is offering some extra incentives through facilities, so their schedule is a little bit different. The parties agree in this MOU that 70% of the facility lies in Carroll County and 30% lies in Haralson County, so to make it easier on the assessment. And
Ms. Blackman and the joint committee did look at the abatement. They're in agreement with what's being presented. And also in this is built in some clawbacks. So we've got, from an economic standpoint, as far as jobs or as far as total investments, different earmarks that we're expecting them to meet at different years, and we'll have an internal audit process, if you will, that will review this and ensure that it's in compliance, correct?
that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll look for a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion or questions? Well, seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, item 8 is an appointment to the Water Authority for District 5, Commissioner Ben Hicks.
So, have everybody seen his bio or whatever? Unfortunately, we lost Mr. Barry Huff. He was a longtime member of the Water Authority Board. And anyhow, we lost him a couple months ago, but I'd like to appoint Tyler Walls. Tyler lives right down behind Holy Ground Baptist Church, and he's a native of Carroll County. Him and his wife have been foster parents for 7 years. Tyler's dad's in commercial plumbing and electrical. I feel like he'll be a good fit to have that common sense knowledge of what it actually takes. Tyler works for Fairway Electrical. He's also in agriculture, like myself. So with that being said, I'd like to appoint Tyler Walls to the Water Authority Board.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, we do not have executive session, so the next item is adjournment. I look for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Thank you.